Now, the South African arm of the platinum miner Anglo American could announce a restructuring plan sometime today or tomorrow that will sharply scale back job losses from an initially planned figure of 14,000. Reuters reports that pressure from the South African government has meant that the miner, which is also informally known as Amplats, will cut about 5,000 jobs as it tries to strike a balance between cost-cutting to maintain the integrity of its balance sheet on one hand and the threat of labour unrest on the other. That said, militant workers' unions still maintain they will launch protest strikes even if job cuts fall far short of the initial target. It is, of course, absolutely crucial for Amplats to rein in costs and cut production to such an extent that it lifts the price of platinum following its loss last year, and it remains to be seen exactly how the company will wriggle out of its current situation. Union leaders in Johannesburg say they will not endorse illegal protest actions or strikes under any circumstances whatsoever. Let's look at this from a different perspective, however. Miriam Bemard has more details on the proposed changes to Amplats' restructuring plan. She joins us now live from London. Miriam, based on the data you've seen so far, if Amplats maintains another 9,000 workers on its payroll, what then will it cut to meet the exact same target of cost savings?
Well, actually, Rama, they haven't been clear on exactly where those cuts will be, but Anglo American has said there will be an answer by the end of this week. The South African government did warn Amplats that its mining licenses could be in jeopardy. Let's not forget, let's roll back to 2010. Profits for the miner were on a decline, and the company said it would cut $2 billion in 2 years, all in efforts to try and cut about 7% of global output to help return to profitability. 2 years later, and we're seeing cost cuts across South Africa's mining industry. It's not just about Amplats because of both weak commodity prices and price inflation. Now, Harmony Gold is also trying to protect its margins with a combination of cost and capital expenditure cuts, as well as gold producer Sibanye Gold also reviewing costs as part of its strategy since moving away from gold fields. So what we're seeing is that all of these companies are taking a step back and looking at where they can make the final cuts.
Based on the data available in hand so far, of course we don't have the full plans as yet, the initial plan also included plans to mothball 2 mines. Is that still part of the plan, or has that changed altogether?
You know what? At this point, they remain quite tight-lipped about that. We tried to get a comment. They did not want to comment on that specifically. It says that it's been in talks, the company says that it's been in talks with the South African government since January, trying to hammer out the agreed restructuring plan, which many experts also include the 2 mines. Now, experts are saying it's important for companies to consider all avenues rather than just focusing on cuts in regional production. Sibanye Gold, for example, is trying to reduce its corporate costs along with shaving off costs and overall capital expenditure in South Africa and Papua New Guinea. Now, in the case of Anglo, some analysts think the core Anglo American company would be an attractive merger target for, perhaps either Rio Tinto or Glencore and Xstrata. So, in efforts to ward off any premature suggestions, Rama, experts say that Anglo will likely try and impose gradual structural changes and avoid massive production overhaul.
Indeed, baby steps being the name of the game. We'll have to leave it there for the time being. That's CCTV's Miriam Bemard live in London for us with some analysis on what exactly will happen with respect to Amplats and the restructuring plan.